California, that $20 an hour you implemented a year ago was a horrible, horrible idea. What are people doing now? Well, they're automating stuff. And you're like, what? Yeah, and it has horrible consequences for the state. So let's look at it. Employers like Pizza Hut Roundtable began firing more than 1,000 delivery drivers and said they will ramp up use of robotics to slim down their staff, according to reports, because it got so expensive to have all these employees there. So they said, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna kick them to the curb, replace them with robots, just like I've always been talking about this robot flipper Flippy. And now they're saying California jobs opening fall 30% as unemployment rate is second worst in the country. And I'm looking at it like, ooh, that's not good. That's not good. Meanwhile, the year-over-year unemployment rate in September increased to 5.3% from 5%, more than a percentage point over the national average rate of 4%. And only my own state, my own home state, has a higher unemployment rate at 5.6. And I was looking at it like, oh my goodness, but I can understand why. So when I was a small business owner in California and I opened up a frozen yogurt shop, that got shut down because of COVID. And actually the police came and shut me down from the sheriff and said, you're not essential, make sure you close or we're gonna start fining you. So I was like, oh gosh. So I tried to get all these PPP loans and these PPP loans through a bank, and they said, nah, that's not gonna happen, we're not gonna give them to you. And now, to sum it all off, I'm seeing that everybody and their dog got these fraudulent PPP loans, but for my business, I couldn't get it. And I said, you know what, my for my business, I'm definitely not going to take out a loan because it's too risky to take out a loan. Even Mark Cuban says it. Whatever you do, do never ever take out a loan on your business and sign a personal guarantee because it's just too risky for you. You really gotta think about it before you do it. And you can do that once if you have a track record of being open a few years and you're like, I just need this one time till my contract comes up or that this big employer pays me or something else. But yeah, it's not good. It's not looking good for California. And I lived there for many, many years and I loved it. But now there's trouble with all these people that cannot stay in the state because it's had a huge outwards migration. People like me who are business owners who said, I'm gonna take my business somewhere else. And I moved to Nevada, moved to Las Vegas. Best decision I've ever made. Why? Or you move to Florida, but that has its own problems. But when you are thinking about moving and you're like, I'm in California, $20 minimum wage sounds great, and I need $20 to live. I know you do, but these jobs that were the $20 minimum wage weren't designed for you to make a full-time living. Those were server jobs or fast food joints, and those were somewhat designed for you to get, I need my first job, and that's what you did. You kind of got a fast food job. You worked at Taco Bell. I know a bunch of my friends worked at Taco Bell. They worked on different spots and just try to make a living that way while they were in college. And then once you get out of college, the intent was, you're gonna get another job. You're gonna move to something where your industry, where you get your college degree from. But a lot of people didn't. A lot of people stayed in that business, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it wasn't really meant for all that. You can't live off of that, especially not in California. So then they said, we're just going to implement $20 an hour so you can make a living wage. Yeah, that's fantastic. The idea, it's always these grandiose ideas that always come and bite you. Because when you think about it, it seems fair, right? But then all of a sudden, you're like, I can spend a one-time payment of $60,000 and I can buy this robot flipper that I'm always talking about. And there's a bunch of industries that are gonna have the same trend that's coming to them. Because if you have employees to run your store and you need those employees to perform tasks that don't really require that much of skills. So I'm not saying that it doesn't require skills of what you're doing, but it's predetermined, right? They'll tell you how many scoops you need to do. There's no There's no, oh, add a little bit of this or think a little bit more creatively. It's basically you follow steps, you follow protocol, right? And, oh gosh, I'm gonna get so canceled for this. But you follow protocols. Then when you finish the protocols, then you kind of move on to the next thing. And everything is basically written in a handbook. And guess who can do that really well? Robots. They don't need no thinking. They need no outside of the box. They don't need any what ifs, how can I do it better, or anything else. They designed the steps and you follow that exact steps. So when you're working on the fryer at McDonald's and it says flip them after 30 seconds or whatever it is, you flip them. And guess who's really good at that? Flippy the robot, right? He can do that very well. Or frying stuff. There's no accidents. The robot isn't gonna pour grease over itself, and when it does, it's a technical error and you just kind of, oh shit. And it's not your robot because you rented it. And guess how much they charge you? That was like a year ago where I saw that. They charge you like $1.90 per hour or something like that. So you, on your 20 bucks an hour, are thinking now, oh shit, this robot, I'm getting replaced by it, who's charging $1.90 an hour. It's never sick. It's never late. If it's running, it's running. It might have an issue where it's a software glitch or something else. But as time progresses, there's less software glitches, there's less issues, and they probably got backups on them, right? So there's one or two of them. And there was this show on CNBC where I saw where they introduced that, and they said that White Castle that purchased that one said, this robot relieves 3 people working the fryer. So this robot is doing a job for 3 people. And now we're gonna see that in trends of all over other sectors where people say, hey, we're gonna start, why should we start just having these robots do our tasks? And so at one point, you're just gonna get all these people that have these jobs that don't really require that much skills to be replaced. And to top it all off, in California, there's so many companies that moved to Texas, right? Tesla did it with X, Oracle, and a whole bunch of other Charles Schwab's. They all moved to Texas for better tax reliefs. And if your governor doesn't care about these companies, because the governor came out and said, I don't give a shit. You guys can move. If you don't like it here, then just move. And that's what these companies did. And when your governor doesn't want the jobs in his own state, and you can see that in the article where they said what we did was we've created a bunch of government jobs and the private sector just plummeted. What does that do? Let's think about this. Oh yeah, that makes taxes go up because you got to have all these government jobs got to be paid for somehow. So what do you do? So you tax the rest of these people the hell out of, and so that then they're going to be like, hold on, that's not right. All these agencies, all these fees, I don't want to do that. So I'm out. Because it was crazy when I opened up my shop. There were so many agencies that wanted money from you that it wasn't feasible to stay in business. It was just the taxes, there's fees over there's fees, then there's other fees over there, and then there's a scale fee organization, and you got to pay the dairy something for whatever we did. A dairy organization never came out, never saw once, but you had to send them a check so they can certify something that they've never seen before. So you had to send them money. So it's like, how do I get on that list? How can I be part of that list where somebody has to send me a check and I send them a stamp of approval with the comfort of my own home? And that's what it is. That's what that overregulation does. And when you hire so many, in the articles, there's so many people that get hired by the government or by the state that it's like, what are these people going to do? They're going to come and see, they're going to tax these other businesses. And for you as a small business owner, that's horrible. If you're a huge corporation, you can stomach that. But for small business owners, nah, you can't do nothing about it. You just can't do it. You got to be like, I got to move. And so if you have that dream of being a business owner, you just got to get out. You got to do what's best and just be like, yep, pack your bags and get out. And I say that about Florida because it's just not feasible anymore because of the cost. I said it about California because of taxes and the wildfires. It's just, you got to find what works for you. And some people are so upset in the comments, I can't leave, I don't even make enough money. well, you just gotta figure something out, get another part-time job, and then just head out when you can and do a lot of research, watch a lot of YouTube, watch a lot of other creators, and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and see what works for you. See if there's family in that town that you can stay with, and then kind of just be like, yep, I'm quitting on that date and just gonna do it. Try to get credit cards paid off and say, you know what, it's just time for me to head out because I can't do it no more. I just got a haircut today, and my barber said she saved up 2 years worth of money to move to Greece, and her house is up for sale, and she said, I have a ticket in December and I'm leaving the United States with my husband because his brother left, I think 10 years ago with Greece. They opened up a cafe and they're heading out because the cost of living, healthcare, everything got so expensive. Their house flooded here twice, and they said, I'm done. So I thought they're gonna move to St. Louis or move to another place, move to Michigan, I don't know, a whole nother spot. But no, they said, I moved to Greece. Kind of was shocking to hear that somebody, because I grew up in Switzerland, I grew up in Europe. They said, oh, I'm gonna move to Europe and I'm just gonna have a way better way of life. And I was like, huh, yeah. So how did you find that? It's like, oh, we looked, and my brother and my husband's brother, he liked it, he loved it. So all he did was he saw what it takes to get an investor visa, and then he went out and opened up his little cafe, and it's flourishing. So they want to open up another one, and he's gonna have his brother join him, open up another one, and do that in Greece. And I was like, hey, seems fair. Hey, you go there where they treat you the best. That's what I always say. If a country doesn't like you and you got a whole better gig somewhere else, pick up, leave your stuff, and move. And the same goes for cities and states. If they don't treat you well in California, pick up and leave. Move to another state. And if they say, I got my family here, I got them here, then move them out. And if they don't want to move, then just leave them. And say, hey, I can't do it, but you can. I'm rooting for you. I'll come see you on Christmas. And you do it. Now you're like, oh, easy, you can say that. Yeah, I did it. I left my family in Switzerland. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to the United States and chase my dreams. And here I am. And I did it legally. And so I wasn't going to stay in the United States. I was going to go to college, finish my degree here, my bachelor's, and then I was going to go to Australia where my uncle is and see how Australia is. But then I saw Allie, and oh my gosh, that woman. So stayed with her, and now wherever she wants to go, I want to go. So just some word of advice. Wherever you want to go, wherever they treat you the best, is where you should 100% go. And don't listen to other people on YouTube that say, you got to do this or you got to do that. No, whatever works for you, you should do. And yeah, it's just something that I learned earlier on because I've lived in France, I lived in Switzerland, I lived here in Florida, I lived in California, I lived in Nevada, and it's just something different. And you can see the pros and cons for yourself. You see the good weather in Florida, you see the hurricanes, you see the taxes, you see the environmental stuff, you see everything. And then you go to California and you see the taxes, you see the roads, you see everything else. And then you make an informed decision. Is this where I want to be? Is this not where I want to be? Where are the good jobs at? Do I need to move to where my job is? Do I need to move to another place? But I'm telling you, being remote, those days are over. So if you're remote and you're living in Florida, it's coming to an end. It's coming to an end, I'm telling you. So this was a little shorter video today. And I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll talk to you in the next one.